Now today, finally the day that we've been waiting for arrived. NEO announced their Q3 earnings, and as seen on the screen, ladies and gents, NEO reported total revenues of around 19.05 billion RMB, which equates to roughly around $2.61 billion. This, of course, it is something that is incredible because it is a 46.6% increase year over year, which is something that is always pretty good, right? But these revenues that NEO generated, they fell short from what analysts, of course, expected, and that is the total revenues, or generating total revenues of around 19.3 billion RMB. Now, as for the earnings per share, analysts were expecting negative 2.63 RMB, but NEO, ladies and gents, reported also an earnings per share of negative 2.42 RMB or Chinese yen, which is, of course, better because it means that the losses became narrower than what analysts expected. Now, the most important figures or values, as I've said, that we've been waiting for, which are the gross margins. NEO saw, of course, gross margins coming to 8%, whereas their vehicle margins rose to around 11%. Now, this is good news, especially knowing that NEO, ladies and gents, for Q2, we saw their gross margin coming down to 1%, and to see that gross margins have improved from 1 to 8% makes me to be really excited, and makes me, of course, wonder the kind of gross margin that we'll see in this Q4. I know NEO had promised a double-digit gross margin growth, but 8%, it is pretty good, looking at the fact that NEO was sitting at 1% when they report their Q2 earnings. Another important figure, or another important note from these, of course, earnings is, of course, the cash and cash equivalents, ladies and gents, who we saw them growing to over $6 billion, which this is much better because this figure in Q2, it was just over 4 billion. To get to see it at this, of course, it is something that is pretty good. But something that I know it boosted, of course, is the senior notes offering that NEO announced, or the 1 billion senior notes that NEO announced and completed within, of course, 1 week, which is something that is pretty good, and it is showing that the cash and cash equivalent, it is becoming better, which therefore means that, of course, the balance sheet is improving, or it's becoming stronger and stronger, which is something that is pretty good, right? Now, this, when I read that, at least, or when I saw 6 billion, to me it's a good sign, positive sign, to say that we are headed into the right direction. I know the net sales in NEO for the Q3 earnings are way over $600 million, but one of the good things is that NEO has been doing or implementing strategies to try to cut down their operations and expenses, and we know this because NEO indicated that they will be cutting down 10% of their staff, and they are also going to not spend that much onto long projects. They are going to prioritize projects that, of course, makes financial sense for the next coming 2 years. This is something that NEO is doing, and I personally believe that we are going to definitely see this benefit them in terms of the losses, or in terms of the profits that they will make in the near future. I mean, one of the good things that you will know that NEO is doing, they are planning to acquire full, of course, assets from Jack, who was helping them produce their cars, and NEO is going to produce their car by themselves, which is going to again bring in some good revenues, because the money that they were paying per car to Jack, they will be retaining that money, which will, of course, tend to also improve the margins, which is something that is pretty amazing. Now, the most important, or one of the most important figures that we were waiting for, ladies and gents, are the guidance for Q4, which, as soon as the screen noticed that NEO, the CEO indicated that for Q4 they are expecting to deliver vehicles of between 47 and 49,000. This now simply means that NEO is targeting to deliver somewhere between 15 and 17,000 for Q4, which basically is the same deliveries that we've been seeing from these 2 months, namely November and October of Q4, which that they are expecting to deliver somewhere around the very same numbers we saw, which is not that bad, because, ladies and gents, once again, it will be a good growth, because Q4 of 2022, you know that NEO just delivered around 40,000, and to know that they might be delivering somewhere between 47 and 49,000, it is a pretty good growth, which makes me to be really excited as the NEO investor. So yes, finally we got to see the numbers. The numbers are out, and NEO, ladies and gents, it is going to deliver around 16,000, or an average of around 16,000 deliveries for this month, which is not a train smash. But personally, I think that probably they're playing it safe. We might see them going over 49,000. I don't know, but I think it's possible because the demand for December, or for the demand usually in Q4, tends to be much better, though it has not kicked in as yet this year. Probably my hopes are now in December to say that we might see the numbers in December improving, and therefore seeing NIO, or making NIO, to report total deliveries of at least closer to 20,000. I think that will make a lot of the new investors to be really excited. So yes, 49,000 is the guidance that NIO gave during this Q3 earnings. So I'm very excited because some of the things that of course were important to me, like the gross margins, though they didn't get to 10%, but 8%, I still think that it's a good gross margin, looking at the fact that in previous quarter, which is Q2, they were sitting at 1%. Also, the cash and cash equivalent also of say over $6 billion, it is making me to be really excited because it looks like their balance sheet is also improving, which is something that is of course good to investors. Now the guidance, I mean, I'm also excited about the guidance because, ladies and gents, though it will be, or the deliveries that NIO plans to deliver will be lower than those they delivered in Q3, but they will still be much better than the deliveries they saw last year, which therefore means that there's growth on NIO. NIO continues to grow. The gross margins, or the margins, are expected to be better in Q4, especially now that NIO has, of course, cutted, or they have started cutting some of the operation expenses, which is something that of course will tend to boost their of course gross margins, which is something that is pretty amazing, and of course it is making me to look forward to the Q4 earnings. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I'd just give you this quick updates. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click the notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. If you want to buy NIO, or if you own the NIO stock, it is always good that you do your own due diligence so that at least you can be comfortable as you are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And of course, I know there might be further comments that of course the NIO CEO might address as this day unfold, and should there be any more important news, I'll make sure that I do a video and I update, or I upload and update you guys on this channel. Otherwise, that's all from me for now, and God bless you all.